Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Ed Gale was a beloved American character actor and stunt performer, born in 1963 in Plainwell, Michigan. Best known for physically portraying the iconic killer doll Chucky in the cult classic horror films Child's Play, 1988, Child's Play 2, 1990, and Bride of Chucky, 1998, Gale brought a chilling realism to the role that left a lasting impression on horror fans around the world. He also gained early recognition for his work as Howard T. Duck in the 1986 film Howard the Duck, and later appeared in Spaceballs and The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Gale moved to California at 20 years old with just $41 and a dream, eventually building a career that spanned over 130 film, television, and commercial appearances. With a career marked by courage and creativity, he was estimated to have accumulated a modest fortune and a devoted fan base. Sadly, Ed Gale passed away on May 28, 2025, at the age of 61 in Los Angeles, after being hospitalized for breathing difficulties. He died shortly before entering hospice care. His vibrant spirit, unique talent, and unforgettable performances will continue to inspire generations. Rest in peace, Ed. You brought magic to the screen in the most unexpected ways. Farewell to Marcel Ophuls, a fearless voice in the world of documentary filmmaking. Marcel Ophuls, the legendary documentary filmmaker and Oscar winner, passed away on May 24, 2025, at the age of 97. Known for his uncompromising pursuit of truth and historical integrity, Ophuls redefined the power of non-fiction cinema. Though he originally aspired to direct musicals and romantic comedies, it was in documentary filmmaking that he made his lasting mark. His 1969 masterpiece, The Sorrow and the Pity, courageously confronted the uncomfortable truth of French collaboration with Nazi occupiers during World War II. Spanning over 4 hours, the film was initially rejected in France, but ultimately acclaimed as a milestone in historical cinema. His 1988 film, Hotel Terminus, The Life and Times of Klaus Barbie, won the Academy Award for Best Documentary, further cementing his legacy as a fearless chronicler of the darkest corners of modern history. Other notable works include The Memory of Justice, 1976, which drew powerful parallels between Nazi atrocities and wartime actions in Algeria and Vietnam, and November Days, 1991, which examined post-reunification East Germany. His final major work, Un Voyageur, 2012, served as a moving cinematic memoir reflecting on his extraordinary life and career. Marcel Ophuls never shied away from difficult questions. He believed that documentaries should provoke, expose, and illuminate, and in doing so, he inspired generations of filmmakers to seek the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. He was born in Frankfurt, Germany, in 1927, the son of acclaimed director Max Ophuls and actress Hilda Wall, and later fled Nazi persecution with his family to the United States. Breaking news: Wayne Newton, the velvet voice of Las Vegas. What happened behind the spotlight? Have you ever wondered what becomes of a man whose name was once synonymous with the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas? Whose voice melted hearts night after night, yet whose personal life was filled with turmoil most never saw? In this emotional and revealing tribute, we take you behind the curtain into the real life of Wayne Newton, Mr. Las Vegas, a man whose journey to stardom was paved with both dazzling success and deeply personal battles. Wayne Newton's name is etched into the very fabric of American entertainment history. For over 6 decades, he captivated audiences with his velvet voice, charming presence, and unmatched charisma. But beneath the sequins and spotlight was a man who had to constantly fight to be heard, to be respected, and to be remembered. Born Carson Wayne Newton on April 3, 1942, in Norfolk, Virginia, to Patrick Newton, an auto mechanic of Powhatan descent, and Evelyn Marie, of German and English ancestry, Wayne's life was rooted in humble beginnings. His family moved to Phoenix, Arizona, when he was still young, hoping the dry desert air would improve his childhood asthma. It was in this unlikely environment that Wayne's musical gift first bloomed. By the age of 6, Wayne was already performing in local clubs and fairs, playing the piano and steel guitar. Alongside his brother Jerry, he formed a musical duo, entertaining crowds and catching the attention of local radio and television. But these early gigs were not glamorous. They were hard-earned opportunities that required perseverance, long hours, and sacrifice. Everything changed when, as a teenager, he was discovered by a Las Vegas talent scout. The Newton brothers were invited to perform in the lounge of the Fremont Hotel and Casino in 1959. What was supposed to be a 2-week engagement turned into a run that lasted 5 years. For Wayne, Las Vegas wasn't just a city, it became his destiny. By the early 1960s, Wayne Newton's solo career was taking flight. He was mentored by Jackie Gleason and befriended by stars like Lucille Ball and Bobby Darin. But it was his 1963 breakout hit, Danke Schoen, that catapulted him to national fame. With a voice both youthful and hauntingly mature, Newton enchanted millions. Yet success was never served to him on a silver platter. Despite his popularity with audiences, Newton battled the skepticism of industry insiders. Some mocked his high-pitched singing voice, others dismissed him as a novelty act. Even at the height of his fame, he struggled to be taken seriously as a musician and performer. But Wayne pressed on, driven by an iron will and a deep love for music. His personal life was no less complicated. Behind the scenes, he faced a relentless schedule, financial setbacks, and numerous health scares. By the 1980s, Newton was battling vocal cord issues that nearly ended his singing career. He underwent surgery and months of therapy, uncertain whether he'd ever sing again. For a man whose entire identity was wrapped around his voice, this was nothing short of a nightmare. And then there was the stress of public scrutiny. In the 1990s, Newton found himself embroiled in legal battles and financial difficulties. He filed for bankruptcy in 1992, reportedly owing millions in debt. The media was merciless. Tabloids painted him as a fallen star, focusing more on lawsuits and money troubles than the man's enduring talent and contributions. But here's where Wayne Newton's story takes a remarkable turn. Rather than let these hardships define him, Wayne fought back. With characteristic resilience, he rebuilt his brand, his voice, and his career. He returned to the stage, headlined new shows in Las Vegas, and continued performing for loyal fans who never stopped believing in him. One of his biggest triumphs came with the opening of Wayne Newton Up Close and Personal at Caesar's Palace, a show that gave audiences an intimate look at his journey. And it wasn't just about music. Wayne became a symbol of Las Vegas itself. He performed for troops overseas, supported numerous charities, and opened his own ranch, Casa de Shenandoah, to fans eager to experience his life offstage. It was his way of saying, "I'm still here, I've endured, and I want to share my life with you." In interviews, Wayne often reflects on those dark chapters, admitting, "There were times I didn't think I'd make it through, but every hardship taught me something. Every loss made me stronger." Perhaps the most defining characteristic of Wayne Newton's journey is his unshakable determination to rise, no matter how many times he's knocked down. In his later years, health issues have once again surfaced. Though now in his 80s, Wayne continues to perform occasionally, though he has scaled back his schedule. There are whispers in the entertainment world about his declining health, and fans worry if they've seen him on stage for the last time. But those close to him say that while his body may slow, his spirit remains unbreakable. His wife, Kathleen McCrone, a lawyer whom he married in 1994, has been a pillar of strength, supporting him through illness, surgeries, and personal heartbreaks. Together, they raised their daughter Lauren, and their bond remains one of the few constants in his whirlwind life. So, where is Wayne Newton now? He resides at his beloved Casa de Shenandoah, surrounded by the horses he adores, the memorabilia that reflects a lifetime of triumph, and the quiet gratitude of a man who has seen the best and worst of fame. These days, he's more selective about public appearances, but continues to inspire through his story. Wayne Newton's life is more than a tale of showbiz. It's a testament to endurance, a lesson in refusing to be forgotten, a reminder that behind every glittering act on the Vegas Strip is a soul that's fought through the storm. He didn't just survive, he evolved. For those who remember the boyish crooner with the unforgettable smile, the man who sang Danke Schoen into American hearts, Wayne Newton will always be more than a performer. He'll be a symbol of hope, transformation, and grit. If you've ever seen Wayne Newton live, or if his music touched your life in any way, we invite you to share your memories in the comments below. Has his voice ever lifted your spirit during a hard time? Has his story inspired your own journey? Press like to honor the legacy of a man who gave the world more than just music. He gave us a reason to believe in comebacks. Because Wayne Newton is more than Mr. Las Vegas. He's a fighter, a survivor, and above all, a legend. Alan Yentob, one of Britain's most influential figures in television and the arts, has died at the age of 78. His passing was confirmed by his family and reported by Variety, marking the end of a remarkable career that shaped the cultural landscape of the UK for over 5 decades. Yentob joined the BBC as a trainee in 1968 and quickly rose through the ranks, becoming one of its most powerful creative leaders. He served as controller of both BBC One and BBC Two, director of television, and head of music and arts. His vision gave rise to groundbreaking shows like Absolutely Fabulous, Have I Got News for You, and the beloved Pride and Prejudice adaptation. He also helped launch the children's channels CBBC and CBeebies. Beyond his executive influence, Yentob was a passionate storyteller. He fronted the acclaimed arts programs Arena and Imagine, profiling icons from David Bowie to Beyoncé with a rare blend of curiosity and empathy. His 1975 documentary, Cracked Actor, featuring a candid and vulnerable Bowie, is still considered a landmark in arts broadcasting. Tributes poured in from across the creative world. BBC Director General Tim Davie called him a towering figure in British broadcasting, and his wife Philippa remembered him as the kindest of men, whose life was filled with curiosity, humor, and deep compassion. Alan Yentob's legacy lives on in the voices he championed, the stories he helped tell, and the generations of artists he inspired. He was, in every sense, one of the great creative spirits of our time. Phil Robertson, the bearded patriarch of Duck Dynasty and founder of the multi-million-dollar Duck Commander empire, has died at the age of 79. His passing, confirmed by the Robertson family on Facebook, came after a quiet battle with Alzheimer's disease. A man of deep faith and bold convictions, Phil wasn't just the face of a hit reality series. He was a cultural icon, a Southern storyteller, and a tireless voice for his Christian beliefs. His daughter-in-law, Corey Robertson, wrote, "We celebrate today that Phil is now with the Lord. We grieve, but not without hope." That hope, rooted in his unwavering faith, shaped every chapter of his remarkable life. Long before television fame, Phil was a teacher and commercial fisherman, inventing a duck call in a small Louisiana workshop that grew into a business empire run today by his son Willie. But it was Duck Dynasty, airing from 2012 to 2017, that made him a household name. At its peak, the show became the most watched non-fiction series in cable history, bringing millions of viewers into the lives of the fiercely loyal, faith-filled Robertson clan. Despite controversy in 2013 that briefly removed him from the show, Phil remained unapologetically himself, grounded, opinionated, and profoundly devoted to God, his wife Miss Kay, and their large, growing family. His story was told in the 2023 film The Blind, a raw and redemptive portrait of a man who found grace, love, and purpose through faith. Phil leaves behind his wife of nearly 60 years, 4 sons, 16 grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and a legacy that echoes with duck calls, devotion, and the good news he never stopped preaching. Bernard Kerik, the larger-than-life former NYPD commissioner, who led New York's police force through the harrowing days following 9/11, has died at the age of 69. His death was confirmed Thursday by the New York Post after he passed away at New York Presbyterian Hospital, surrounded by family, following a battle with cardiac disease. Carrick rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most recognizable faces in American law enforcement. Appointed as NYPD commissioner by Mayor Rudy Giuliani in 2000, Carrick earned national respect for his resolute leadership during the 9/11 terrorist attacks. His visible, hands-on presence in the aftermath earned him the nickname America's Cop. Over his 40-year career, Carrick's impact on crime in New York was profound. Under his tenure, violent crime dropped by 63%. Known as the Beat Cop Commissioner, he even made arrests himself, a rarity for someone in his position. But his career also saw controversy. Legal troubles in the 2000s led to a federal conviction, though he was later pardoned by President Donald Trump in 2020. Despite the shadows, Carrick's legacy is defined by his courage, commitment, and deep loyalty to the NYPD and the city he served. Tributes have poured in from colleagues, officials, and loved ones who remembered him not just as a cop, but as a patriot, a mentor, and a devoted family man. He is survived by his wife, Hala Matley Carrick, and 3 children, including son Joe, a Newark SWAT officer carrying on his father's legacy of service. Michael Sumler, affectionately known as Chicago Mike, and a vibrant presence in the legendary R&B band Kool and the Gang, tragically passed away in a car accident over Memorial Day weekend. He was 71. The news was confirmed by the band in a statement to the New York Post, and local authorities later verified he died at the scene following a collision in Cobb County, Georgia, on May 25th. Sumler's journey with Kool and the Gang began in 2004 as a wardrobe stylist, ensuring the band looked sharp for every performance. But it didn't take long for his talent and charisma to shine beyond backstage. He soon found himself on stage, energizing crowds with dance moves and providing background vocals during shows. His magnetic presence became a key part of the band's live energy, especially during their iconic hits like Celebration and Ladies' Night. He was more than a team member, he was family, the band said. Mike brought life to every performance and joy to everyone who worked with him. Sumler's contributions didn't stop with the music. Most recently, he assisted with the group's Le Kool Champagne events, continuing to support the band's legacy well after his official tenure ended in 2015. Mayor Michael Owens of Mableton, Georgia, paid tribute to Sumler, calling him a music legend and honoring the mark he left on generations of fans. Michael Sumler is remembered for his passion, performance, and the soul he poured into every note. His energy lives on through the music he helped bring to life. Ena Hartman, a pioneering black actress whose elegance and strength lit up screens in both television and film during a groundbreaking era, has died at the age of 93. Her passing from natural causes on April 16, 2025, at her home in Van Nuys, was confirmed by her goddaughter, Lorraine Foxworth, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter. Hartman rose to prominence in the 1970s with her role as the smart and composed police dispatcher Katie Grant on ABC's Dan August, opposite Burt Reynolds. At a time when regular television roles for Black women were still rare, Hartman's performance left a lasting impression. She also starred as Carmen Sims in the cult favorite Terminal Island, 1973, sharing the screen with a then-unknown Tom Selleck. Her film appearances included Armand Flint, 1966, Games, 1967, and Airport, 1970, and she made early television history by appearing in the pilot of Adam 12 and in Peter Falk's first outing as Columbo in Prescription Murder. Born Gerthaline Henry in Moscow, Arkansas, Hartman was the daughter of sharecroppers who rose from humble beginnings. After modeling and studying drama in New York City, she broke barriers in 1962 when she received what was believed to be the first grooming contract ever awarded to a Black performer by NBC. Though she lost out on iconic roles like Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek, Hartman carved out her own legacy in Hollywood, one marked by dignity, beauty, and quiet resilience. She is survived by her goddaughter, her son Doug, and daughter-in-law Kimberly. Brian Avnet, a beloved figure in the music industry whose instincts, integrity, and relationships helped launch and shape the careers of icons like Josh Groban and the Manhattan Transfer, died on May 14, 2025, at his Los Angeles home. He was 82. His death, following a long battle with Parkinson's disease, was confirmed by a family publicist. Avnet's career spanned decades and genres. He was instrumental in discovering Josh Groban, nurturing his talent from the ground up, and managing his rise to global stardom. In partnership with producer David Foster, Avnet oversaw landmark recordings for superstars including Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Michael Bublé, and Natalie Cole. His work with Foster extended to leading the launch of 143 Records, where he helped develop an elite roster of vocalists. As manager of the Manhattan Transfer from 1979, Avnet helped guide them to an unprecedented achievement: Grammy Awards in both the pop and jazz categories in the same year. Group members praised him not just as a professional ally, but as family, someone loyal, wise, and kind. A Baltimore native, Avnet got his start in music theater and worked early on with Bette Midler and Lou Adler before turning to artist management. Known for his handshake deals and deeply personal commitment to those he worked with, he earned the trust of legends and newcomers alike. He is survived by his wife Marcia, his brother Richard, and nephew Evan. A private memorial will be held in Los Angeles in September. Donations may be made in his honor to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research. David Harris, best known for his unforgettable role as Cochise in the 1979 cult classic The Warriors, has died at the age of 75. His daughter, Davina Harris, confirmed to the New York Times that he passed away from cancer on Friday at his home in New York City. Harris's portrayal of the stylish, fearless gang member Cochise left an indelible mark on pop culture. With his signature turquoise necklace and headband, he helped define the gritty, iconic aesthetic of The Warriors, a film that initially struggled with critics but later found a passionate global following and now boasts an 88% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Born David Dominic Harris on June 18, 1949, in New York City, he studied at the High School of Performing Arts, where a teacher's encouragement led him to acting. His career began with the Emmy-nominated TV film Judge Horton and the Scottsboro Boys, 1976, and a stage role in Secret Service alongside Meryl Streep and John Lithgow. Though Harris acted in numerous films such as Brubaker, A Soldier's Story, and Quicksilver, it was the Warriors that followed him wherever he went. "I've done a lot of movies, but I get off the plane and people go, 'It's the guy from the Warriors,'" he once said. Lin-Manuel Miranda paid tribute, writing, "We were celebrating and giving him his flowers for his unforgettable performance just over a week ago." David Harris is survived by his daughter, his mother, a sister, 3 siblings, and 2 grandchildren. Ruth Buzzy, the iconic comedian best known for her role as the frumpy, handbag-wielding Gladys Ormsby on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, died on Thursday at the age of 88 due to complications from Alzheimer's. Her passing at her home near Fort Worth, Texas, was confirmed by her longtime representative, Mike Eisenstadt, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter. A true original in the world of sketch comedy, Buzzy delighted generations of fans with her deadpan expressions, comic timing, and unforgettable characters. As Gladys, she became a cultural staple, often spotted on a park bench, fending off the flirtations of Artie Johnson's Tyrone with a swift swing of her purse. The character earned her 3 Emmy nominations and a place in the pantheon of great TV comedic performances. Beyond Laugh-In, Buzzy starred on Broadway in Sweet Charity, appeared on Sesame Street as Ruthie, the quirky shop owner, and lent her voice to numerous animated characters. She also had recurring roles on That Girl, The Lost Saucer, and made memorable appearances in films like Freaky Friday and The Villain. Born in Rhode Island and raised in Connecticut, Buzzy discovered her comedic spark early. She trained at the Pasadena Playhouse alongside Gene Hackman and Dustin Hoffman, and later brought her improvisational genius to stages, screens, and children's television for decades. She is survived by her husband of 46 years, Kent Perkins. The couple spent their later years on a peaceful ranch in Texas. Donations in her memory can be made to the Alzheimer's Association. Ruth Buzzy leaves behind a legacy of laughter, resilience, and a handbag full of unforgettable moments. David Soul, the charismatic actor best known as Detective Ken Hutch Hutchinson in the iconic 1970s television series Starsky and Hutch, has died at the age of 80. His passing on January 4, 2024, was confirmed by his wife Helen Snell in a heartfelt family statement, which described Soul as a beloved husband, father, grandfather, and brother who died after a valiant battle for life in the loving company of family. Born David Richard Solberg on August 28, 1943 in Chicago, Soul was the son of a Lutheran minister and a schoolteacher. He was an accomplished athlete and once offered a contract by the Chicago White Sox at age 18, but his passion drew him to the stage instead. His early career included masked singing appearances as the covered man on The Merv Griffin Show and small TV roles that paved the way for his breakout performance in Starsky and Hutch, 1975-1979, alongside Paul Michael Glaser. The show catapulted Soul to stardom and earned him a loyal fan base. Off-screen, he also made waves in the music world, hitting #1 on the U.S. charts with his 1977 ballad Don't Give Up on Us, and later topping UK charts with Silver Lady. A vocal anti-war activist, Soul starred in the 1971 film Johnny Got His Gun, and later transitioned to stage acting in London's West End, where he lived for decades and became a British citizen. David Soul is survived by his wife, 6 children, and a lasting legacy of charm, wit, and cultural impact, both as a performer and as a man who never stopped telling stories. Frank Fritz, the beloved co-host of American Pickers, passed away at the age of 60, leaving a deep void in the hearts of his fans and the antique collecting community. Born on October 11, 1963, in Davenport, Iowa, Frank grew up with an innate curiosity for discovering hidden treasures. His passion for antiques began at an early age, driving him to explore the history and value behind forgotten items. Frank's love for picking found its home on American Pickers, where he and his close friend Mike Wolfe traveled across the United States in search of rare collectibles. The duo's chemistry, characterized by their warm camaraderie and shared excitement for the hunt, made the show a favorite among viewers. Whether negotiating for vintage toys or stumbling upon a van once connected to the legendary band Aerosmith, Frank's enthusiasm was infectious, adding a personal touch that drew millions of fans into the world of antiques. However, behind his television success, Frank faced personal struggles with his health. In 2022, he suffered a debilitating stroke that significantly impacted his life. Despite the efforts of those close to him, on September 30th, 2024, Frank passed away in a hospice in his hometown of Davenport, Iowa, surrounded by friends. Annette Oberlander, a longtime friend, confirmed the sad news, correcting misinformation and confirming that Frank was 60 years old when he passed. Mike Wolfe took to social media to express his profound grief, reflecting on their years of friendship and the shared memories that defined their bond. A tribute event in Frank's honor is being planned, with the possibility of a motorcycle run to celebrate his adventurous spirit, one of Frank's great loves. Frank Fritz's passing leaves a lasting impact on the antique collecting world. His genuine nature, passion for the art of discovery, and the friendships he built along the way will be remembered fondly. His legacy will continue to inspire both collectors and fans, ensuring that his love for picking will live on for generations to come. Breaking news: Pierce Brosnan. What happened behind the spotlight? How many times can one man rise from the ashes before he gives up on the flame? That is the question Pierce Brosnan has faced, time and again, in a life shaped as much by tragedy as it was by triumph. At 71, the man once known as the suavest James Bond is now confronting his deepest fears. But this isn't a story about fame. It's about survival, about resilience, about love lost and love found again. And by the end, you may find yourself asking, how did he survive it all? Born on May 16, 1953, in the Irish town of Drogheda, Pierce Brendan Brosnan came into the world without riches, legacy, or even a father. His dad, a carpenter, vanished so early that Pierce never knew his voice, his face, or even his presence. His mother, May, left for London to work as a nurse when he was just 4, leaving him behind with relatives in Ireland. What was meant to be temporary turned into 7 years of instability. He was shuttled from one household to another, never staying long enough to feel at home. Loneliness became his first companion. Teachers noted a bright but distant boy, always staring out the window. Even then, Pierce was dreaming of a world far beyond the limitations of his reality. Do you remember what gave you hope as a child? For Pierce, it was a film. In 1964, his stepfather took him to see Goldfinger, and there, for the first time, young Pierce met James Bond. The strength, the confidence, the control, it was everything he longed for. A seed was planted. At 16, he dropped out of school and entered art college in London, surviving on toast and tea while pursuing painting. But fate intervened. One day, he stumbled into a theater workshop where a fire eater was practicing. Pierce asked if he could try. That fearless question changed his life. Acting found him. He trained intensely at the Drama Centre London from 1973 to 1976. The environment was brutal. Over 60% of students dropped out. Brosnan persisted. He studied Shakespeare, mime, even circus performance. Nothing was beneath him. Nothing would stop him. He began in theater, then landed small film roles, often unremarkable, barely credited. But in 1982, a twist of fate came calling. He was cast not in a minor role, but as the lead in Remington Steele, a TV show that would make him a household name. With charm and mystery, he captivated audiences. The network resisted at first, his Irish accent, his lack of American roots. But Brosnan's magnetism was undeniable. By the mid-'80s, talk swirled. Was Pierce Brosnan the next James Bond? The producers thought so. The public demanded it. Even Ian Fleming's widow believed he embodied the role. But in a cruel twist, contractual obligations to Remington Steele blocked his chance. The role went to Timothy Dalton. Brosnan was devastated, but he smiled through it. Have you ever had your dream snatched away at the last second? He did, and it wouldn't be the last time. As the Bond door closed, his personal life was blossoming. He had married Australian actress Cassandra Harris in 1980. She brought 2 children from a previous marriage, Charlotte and Christopher, and together they had a son, Sean. Pierce adopted Charlotte and Christopher as his own. Finally, he had the family he'd never had growing up. Then, tragedy struck. In 1987, Cassandra was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, the same disease that had taken her mother. For 4 long years, Pierce stood by her side. She endured 8 surgeries and endless chemotherapy. Pierce called himself the quiet party, always present, always helpless. Their young son, Sean, would pretend to be a doctor, trying to heal his mother. It was heartbreaking. In December 1991, Cassandra died in Pierce's arms. She was just 43. Suddenly, Pierce was a single father of 3. The grief, he said, changed him. She's forever woven into every fiber of my being. He never let go of her memory. In the wake of that loss, he finally became Bond. In 1994, he was cast as 007. When GoldenEye premiered in 1995, it wasn't just a film, it was a resurrection for both the Bond franchise and Pierce himself. The movie grossed over $350 million worldwide. It cemented his place in cinematic history. He performed most of his own stunts, including a 220-meter bungee jump off a dam in Switzerland. But beneath the tuxedo and gadgets was a man still mourning. He starred in 3 more Bond films: Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day, each more elaborate and dangerous than the last. But behind the action was a quiet sorrow. While the world saw a hero, he was still nursing wounds. Then came another betrayal. In 2004, with no warning, he was fired from the Bond franchise. A 47-second phone call ended a decade of dedication. No explanation, no goodbye. Brosnan was shattered. His asking price in Hollywood plummeted. He fell into a deep depression. I had to let go of 12 staff members, he recalled. I cried watching the Casino Royale trailer. But he wasn't done. Do you believe in second chances? Because Pierce Brosnan does. In 1994, just months before becoming Bond, he met journalist Keely Shea Smith at a beach party. She didn't care about his fame. She saw the man behind the mask. They married in 2001 in a ceremony rooted in Irish tradition and emotion. Together, they had 2 sons, Dylan and Paris. Keely stood by him when the industry let him down. When trolls mocked her appearance after motherhood, Pierce famously defended her. She is the most beautiful woman in my eyes. I love every curve of her body. Then came the worst blow of all. In 2013, his daughter Charlotte, whom he had adopted and raised, died of the same disease that took her mother, ovarian cancer. She was just 41. She had married just 2 weeks earlier, surrounded by her 2 children. The echo of history was deafening. Once again, Pierce held the hand of a loved one as life slipped away. It was trauma all over again, said a close friend. Pierce was reliving the nightmare. But through it all, he remained present, for his grandchildren, for his wife, for his broken-hearted family. Today, Pierce Brosnan is more than an actor. He is an advocate, a UNICEF ambassador, a voice for cancer awareness, a warrior for the environment. He boycotted the French premiere of GoldenEye to protest nuclear testing. He marched with Greenpeace. He raised money for early ovarian cancer testing. At 71, he continues to act. In 2022, he played Dr. Fate in Black Adam, his calm and powerful presence shining through. He celebrated 23 years of marriage in 2024, calling Keeley his North, South, East, and West. So the question remains, how many times can one man rise from the ashes? If Pierce Brosnan's life has taught us anything, it's this: grief does not destroy us unless we let it. Even when life takes everything, love can rebuild. Fame can fade, but character endures. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that their loss reshaped your world? If Pierce Brosnan's story touched your heart, press like to honor the strength behind the smile. And tell us in the comments, what do you remember most about the man who redefined James Bond? This has been another tribute from Who Died Today USA. Subscribe for more stories of resilience, legacy, and the stars who continue to shine beyond the screen.